If you've been online lately, you've probably seen the sensational headlines, US airports empty after Trump's tariffs, splashed across your feed, grabbing your attention with dramatic flair. And then there's the follow-up. Travelers flee to Toronto, Dubai, and Singapore, as if Americans are abandoning their own airports for bustling hubs overseas. These stories paint a vivid picture of deserted terminals, lonely baggage claims, and suitcases left behind in the rush to escape. The narrative? Trump's tariffs have supposedly transformed America's airports into ghost towns, with travelers fleeing to spend their money in foreign lands. But before we buy into this dramatic story, let's take a moment to step back and really think about what's being claimed. Is any of this actually true? Are US airports truly empty? Or is this just a case of selective images and viral exaggeration? Are Americans really fleeing en masse? Or is the reality more nuanced? The claim is bold, and it absolutely deserves a closer look and some healthy skepticism. Let's break down these headlines and dig into whether they're rooted in fact, or if they're just another round of internet fiction designed to go viral. The story being pushed is that tariffs have made travel and shopping in the US so expensive that people are simply giving up and staying away. Supposedly, Americans are rerouting their lives through foreign countries, booking flights out of Canada or Europe just to avoid high prices at home. The idea is that economic pain has instantly and dramatically changed national travel patterns, almost overnight. But is this a real crisis, or just a viral story that's spiraled out of control? Today we'll sift through the noise, examine the tariffs, the economic strain, and what the experts and real data actually say about the situation. We'll check the impact on duty-free shopping, airport businesses, and see if the numbers match the narrative. And, most importantly, we'll return to that explosive claim and see if it holds up under scrutiny. Are travelers truly fleeing the US? Or is this just another overblown internet myth? Let's dig in and find out together. To understand the chaos that followed, you first need to understand the cause. Trump's sweeping tariffs, unleashed in the summer of 2025, which sent shockwaves through the global economy. This wasn't minor tinkering with policy. It was a sledgehammer to the delicate machinery of global trade, disrupting supply chains and upending business as usual for companies around the world. Using a rarely invoked 1977 law, Trump declared an economic emergency and slapped tariffs on over 60 countries and the entire European Union, bypassing Congress and catching many by surprise. 15% tariffs landed on longtime allies like the EU, Japan, and South Korea, straining diplomatic ties and sparking immediate retaliation. 20% on Taiwan and Vietnam, two of America's key trading partners in electronics and textiles, sending shockwaves through those industries. India? A staggering 50%, as punishment for buying Russian oil, which sent energy prices soaring and complicated global fuel markets. Even Switzerland, famous for its neutrality, got hit with 39% tariffs, including on vital pharmaceuticals, raising concerns about medicine shortages. And a 100% tariff on all computer chips, meaning your next laptop, phone, or car just doubled in price overnight, with ripple effects across the tech industry. The White House claimed these tariffs would force investment back into the US, revive manufacturing, and create a new era of American industrial strength. The vision was clear. Factories reopening, jobs returning, and America once again standing tall as an economic powerhouse on the world stage. But global economics isn't a movie montage where everything falls neatly into place after a dramatic decision. Instead of a simple story of renewal, we got a tangled web of consequences, unintended, unpredictable, and far-reaching. These tariffs were, in effect, a massive tax increase on American consumers and businesses, hitting wallets across the country. When imports get pricier, someone has to pay, and that someone is us, the American public, at the checkout line and in our monthly bills. This wasn't just a trade war, it was a war on your wallet, with costs piling up in ways most people never expected. The shockwaves are still being felt, rippling through markets, boardrooms, and households alike. The world didn't just get a new set of rules, it got a new set of problems, with uncertainty now the only constant. And in the end, it's Americans who are left footing the bill, navigating a more expensive and unpredictable world. What happens when everything gets more expensive overnight? How do families cope when their budgets are stretched thin? Since the first tariffs hit in April 2025, the US economy has started to wobble. Hiring has stalled. Businesses are hesitant to expand or invest. The cost of living is up and everyday expenses are becoming a burden for many. Inflation and stagnant job growth, a bitter cocktail for everyone. The job market is no longer the safety net it once was. Home values are dropping in key markets for the first time in years, leaving homeowners worried. Construction spending is down nearly 3%, a significant drop that affects many industries. Building materials cost more, so projects slow or stop. This has a ripple effect on employment and local economies. The ripple effect starts in Washington and ends with fewer hours for workers. Reduced hours mean smaller paychecks. Did tariffs reduce the trade deficit? Not at all. In fact, they made it worse. The US trade deficit ballooned to $582.7 billion in the first half of 2025, 38% higher than last year. A staggering increase. Importers rushed to stock up before tariffs hit, making the numbers worse. This stockpiling has led to supply chain issues. Economists warn tariffs are sand in the gears of the economy. They slow down progress and create inefficiencies. They don't fix one big problem. They create thousands of small ones. Each small issue compounds, leading to larger economic woes. Lower wages, fewer jobs, and a sluggish economy are the real results. The American dream feels more out of reach. The economy isn't a simple machine, and tariffs aren't a magic fix. They complicate an already complex system. Let's talk about duty-free shopping, the supposed airport perk. Normally, you skip import taxes on liquor, perfume, and chocolate. But with tariffs, are you really saving? Experts say duty-free deals were questionable even before tariffs. Now, prices are even murkier. That French perfume or Swiss watch might be duty-free, but it's already 15% or 39% more expensive. Businesses might absorb some costs, or just raise prices more. Yale's budget lab predicts big price hikes on clothing, but the final price is anyone's guess. And there are limits. You can only bring back $800 duty-free. Over that, you pay. The idea of flying abroad to load up on bargains? Pure fantasy. Duty-free was never a loophole for tariffs, and it's even less of one now. It's just another confusing, expensive part of travel. The economic community's reaction to the tariffs? A collective facepalm. Economists, usually divided, united in criticism. Tariffs hurt your own citizens more than your rivals. Even Trump's political allies called the tariffs arbitrary and incoherent. The president, undeterred, doubled down on social media, framing critics as unpatriotic. The debate became about loyalty, not economics. But the economy doesn't run on rhetoric. It runs on global supply chains now disrupted for millions. The real story is a clash between expert warnings and political messaging. And the costs are real, not just theoretical. The world's response? Swift and severe. Germany's industrial production fell nearly 2% in June 2025, hit hard by new tariffs. India faced a 50% tariff on over half its exports to the US, a devastating blow for millions of workers. Switzerland scrambled to avoid a 39% tariff on pharmaceuticals and watches, but failed. These weren't targeted strikes, they were economic bombardments. The tariffs triggered global pain and political resentment. Instead of changing behavior, they damaged economies and strained alliances. The world's largest economy rewriting trade rules didn't create order, it created chaos. And that chaos is boomeranging back to the US. The fallout is global, and it's not over. Back to our opening claim. Are US airports empty? Are travelers fleeing? The data says no. News reports focus on higher costs for travelers, not empty terminals. There's no evidence of declining passenger numbers or airlines cutting flights. For airports to be empty, we'd need a travel collapse on the scale of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's not happening. The real story is about rising costs, not vanishing travelers. The claim of Americans fleeing to Toronto, Dubai, and Singapore? Baseless. This is classic misinformation. A complex issue twisted into a dramatic, false headline. Americans are still traveling, just paying more for the privilege. The airports aren't ghost towns, they're just more expensive. The viral story is fiction. The reality, lighter wallets, but full flights. Planes are still taking off. Here's a twist. Despite economic strain, the stock market is booming. The S&P 500 is up 25% since April 2025. Why? A major tax cut passed in July injected optimism and cash into the market. Investors, especially the wealthy, are betting on short-term gains. But the stock market isn't the economy. For most people, it's about jobs, groceries, and home values, not stock prices. The market's rally is a sugar high, masking real pain on Main Street. It's a tale of two economies, one for investors, one for everyone else. The disconnect can't last forever. So, what's the verdict? US airports are not empty. The claim is clickbait. There's no mass exodus. People are still flying, still crowding terminals, still complaining about bottled water prices. The business of moving people hasn't stopped. What's changed is the economic environment. Tariffs have made goods more expensive, created confusion, and strained global relationships. The real story is emptier wallets, not empty airports. Dramatic headlines oversimplify a complex reality. The truth. Travelers aren't fleeing, but they're paying more. Airports look normal, but economic pressure is building beneath the surface. Tariffs are grinding away at the foundations, one fee at a time. And that's a far more important story than any viral myth.